Alright guys, in this one, I'm going to take a break from Arc 3.0 and give you guys what you've been asking for a lot. Now, we still have a lot of Arc builds to make on this channel, so if you enjoy my builds and want to see those, be sure to stick around the channel. But for this one, we're specifically going to be talking about the Poison build. Now, I'm calling this build Poison Punch because it does revolve a lot around your melee ability alongside using Oso Sugar. So if we just jump right into it, the first thing we need to go over is our exotic called Necrotic Grip. This has the exotic perk Grasp of the Devourer. Damaging combatants poisons them, dealing increased damage over time. Defeating a poison combatant spreads the condition. Its second perk provides a moderate benefit to airborne effectiveness for all weapons of sorrow. So this exotic is very good because whenever you damage a combatant with your melee, it is actually going to apply poison that will tick up and eventually kill them, and then once they die it will spread, and that poison will do this exact same thing, and then it can spread onto other targets and it can be an infinite chain. It is very good for ad clear and doing some extra boss damage just because you're applying an extra tick of damage to them when you're using other things. Now the best exotic to pair with this is Oso Sugar because this has the perk Toxic Overload. So landing a final blow or multiple precision hits triggers a burst that poisons nearby enemies. This burst is the exact same thing as Necrotic Grip, and since you are pairing it with Necrotic Grip, you will be able to spread the poison forever. In any other class, the poison will only actually go off once and kill, a big group of enemies that are in the explosion, but this will actually make that burst also kill enemies and then continue the spread. They pair extremely well together, and it is almost a must if you are running a poison based build. And this does have the catalyst, so when you get poison final blows, it will return ammo to the magazine, and you can basically have this thing have hundreds of rounds of ammo in it. It is very good. Now I'm also going to be running a Glaive with this build because if you don't know, Glaives actually get changed to where when you actually melee enemies now, it will apply the Necrotic Grip. So now not only is it good for single target damage because you're getting the normal Glaive damage, you're also applying a poison that will tick up, eventually kill them. It's really good for taking out single targets, but eventually when you do kill enemies with that poison or just with the melee in general, it will spread poison. So if there's a bunch of enemies, you can kind of just run in there, just melee everything with your Glaive, and everything's gonna die. And so now not only do you have to use Oso Sugar, you can also use the Glaive, which is really cool. Now I'm taking Cataclysmic just because it is one of the best legendary linear fusions in the game, but taking anything like the Taipan would be very good for your heavy as well. Now with this playstyle of punch and everything, I think solo Warlock is the best thing you can take. Not only because you have access to healing grenades, which can heal you if you are in a pinch and you need to get some health, which is going to be really good, but you also have the aspects Heat Rises, so when you get kills in the air, you actually regenerate some melee energy. That's going to play a huge role in this build. And I am also taking Touch of Flame, so it basically buffs my healing grenade a little bit, so I get some more cure and I have better restoration. Now for melee, I am taking the Incinerator Snap because this does have a huge AoE. When you use your Incinerator Snap, you can also apply Necrotic Grip to enemies, so now your Glaive is doing it, Oso Sugar is doing it, and your Incinerator Snap is now doing it paired all together. Now what's really cool is that Incinerator Snap also applies Scorch effects. This is another reason I think it's very strong. So now not only you're applying a poison tick, you're also applying a scorch tick, so you have 2 ticks of damage going on an enemy, which will for sure kill enemies and is very strong. Now I would recommend running Well of Radiance. It's just very good for PvE. Now for fragments, Ember of Torches, so my power up melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. Since I'm going to be meleeing a ton, I'm always going to be radiant, which gives me more damage for Oso Sugar, or if I need to shoot with the Glaive itself, that will give me some more damage. Now I'm also taking Ember of Soulless. Radiant and restoration effects apply to you, have increased duration. Since I'm not really going to be using a solo weapon, I'm not going to be taking Ember of Empyrean, but I will be able to spam my melee and my healing grenades. This will just give me some extra benefits, and you can pretty much have 100% uptime since you are spamming those 2 abilities. Now Ember of Ashes, so I apply more Scorch Sack to targets. I can now burn people even more, eventually make them ignite since I'm going to be meleeing like crazy. Then Ember of Syrian, so defeating scorched targets grant melee energy. So now if I pair Heat Rises with Ember of Syrian, this is essentially going to just give your melee back completely full of some of our other mods. So now you're not only going to be able to use the Oso Sugar and Glaive, you can also literally spam Incinerator Snap whenever you want to always keep applying Radiant and spreading poison and Scorch everywhere. Now getting into mods, this is where everything starts to come together. I'm going to be taking a melee Well Maker, so whenever I get a melee kill, I will spawn a Solar Elemental Well. I will also be taking 2 Hands On, so I get bonus super energy on melee hits. So this means I will now be able to generate more super energy because since I'm spamming my melee like crazy. Then to take advantage of that Solar Elemental Well, I'm going to be running Font of Wisdom. So whenever I pick up that Elemental Well that matches my subclass type, it'll essentially give me 100 Intellect. So now I have 100 Resilience, 100 Discipline, and I will have 100 Intellect. I would take 100 Resilience and 100 Discipline with this build since you don't really need melee energy, but then now this is also giving you 100 Intellect, so you can spam Well of Radiance as much as possible, which pairs really well with Hands On, so you can get your super back really fast. Now I also am going to be taking Elemental Charge, so whenever I pick up that Elemental Well, I will become charged with life. light, which is really good. And then impact induction, so causing damage with a melee attack will reduce your grenade cooldown. Since you're going to be spamming your melee, you're going to also be getting your grenade back a lot, which is really good for survivability. I do also have a focusing strike on right now, but you can change this out to any champion mod, so you can take this into in-game content. But this is just going to grant class building energy when you cause damage with your melee attack, so that's also pretty good for getting your rift back. Now, to take advantage of charge light, I will be using heavy-handed. So while charge light, I regain half of my melee energy when I use a charged melee ability, consuming 1 stack of my charge light. If my melee gets killed, I will then get elemental charge again, and you can have infinite heavy-handed, so you're going to be getting half your melee energy back. Heat Rise is going to give you your melee energy back, and Ember of Syrian will give you melee energy back because you are scorching enemies with your melee. So that is really good. You have infinite finger snaps. I will also take an outreach mod. This is going to reduce the melee cooldown when you use your class ability. Then finally, I am taking Well of Life. So whenever I pick up a solar elemental well from my melee ability, this will give me some regeneration over time. So this is really good again for survivability. This paired with a healing grenade, which you have pretty much all the time, it makes you very tanky. I do have a recuperation. If somebody is draining orbs of power, you can pick those up and get some health back, which is really cool. You could also opt in to take a kinetic siphon mod over a hands-on, so now your Oso Sugar will be able to generate orbs, which could take advantage of recuperation. That is also a way to go. And then just general a linear fusion rifle scavenger, so I can get more ammo with cataclysmic. So that is pretty much the build. What you're going to do is just use your melee, your Oso Sugar, or your glaive just to spread poison literally everywhere. You're going to have infinite melee abilities, which is in return going to give you infinite scorch, infinite poison, infinite healing grenades. You get class ability energy just by spamming your melee all the time, and you just become a ad clear killing machine. Taking something like a linear fusion is going to be really good for your bossing damage, and then obviously things like your glaive is really good for single target damage on mages, which then will return now be able to spread poison and kill everything. This build every season keeps getting better and better, and if we have more changes come to it next season, you can expect another updated build. But if you guys did enjoy this video and want to see more content just like this, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all of that would be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough. Every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated, but thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace.